Andrew Tate tried to send a letter to our president, Klaus Iohannis. I live in Romania. He tried to send that letter to a sheikh, a friend of his from Dubai. Imagine what is the real opinion of Andrew Tate about Romania if he thinks that he could reach Klaus Iohannis just because he has a lot of money. Of course, he couldn't reach our president. It was a stupidity from his side, and there are evidence that he wanted to leave Romania if the judge decided to trial him under house arrest. This is what he said to his friends, that he will get out of Romania as soon as possible. So that's why they are keeping him in the prison right now, and the trial is under arrest. I don't know if you know this information, but two of the girls ran from his houses and went to the police. And the police officer there called Luana Radu, that former police officer that worked for Andrew Tate, and they reached an agreement with the victim. And the victim was maybe threatened or asked for money in order to give up the charges. As you noticed in some of the footages from that mansion, it had guards, and every time a girl exited that mansion just to pick up a pizza or something from a courier, there were two guards that tried to intimidate them and catch them if they want to run. So I think that it's impossible for them to avoid prison at this point. Other thing that he did was to try to reach the right extremist parties in our country, to reach George Simion and Diana Șoșoacă to help him on his cause, promising them that they will be rewarded and that they will get a lot of votes. What Andrew Tate doesn't know is that the persons who vote for these guys aren't his followers. His followers are young, they need advice, they need mentorship. The voters of the extreme right wing are usually not in this category. Another interesting thing from the trial is that the former policewoman Luana Radu accessed the database of the Ministry of Internal Affairs, and it was impossible to get into that database without the help of other persons that had access to the file of Andrew Tate. So that's why Andrew Tate knew that the Matrix is after him, because he had the access to the files, to the police files, to the DE-Code files. So DE-Code, the institution that deals with this case, is the Directorate for the Investigation of Organized Crime and Terrorism in Romania. What I think that the Tate brothers did, and we can't see that in the trial yet, is that they used probably some girls as prostitutes to blackmail, like we can see in this case of Luana Radu, to blackmail politicians and police officers maybe. As you can see, she is a beautiful girl, and I suppose that she was seducing some of the officers there from the ministry just to reach Andrew Tate's case and show him what the case of the prosecutors is all about. That's why Luana and also Georgiana are now in prison once again. So far, this is the case against the Tate brothers. This is the translation here. During 2021, they have constituted an organized criminal group with a view to committing the crime of human trafficking on the territory of Romania, but also on other countries such as the United States of America and Great Britain. The victims were later transported and housed in buildings in Ilfov country, where by exercising acts of physical violence and mental coercion through intimidation, constant surveillance, control, and invoking alleged debts, they were sexually exploited by the members of the group by forcing them to pornographic manifestations with a view to the production of dissemination through social media platforms of material having such a character by submitting to the execution of a work in a forced manner in order to obtain important financial benefits consisting of the sums of money obtained as a result of accessing the materials by users according to DICOT, the Directorate for the Investigation of Organized Crime and Terrorism. So Andrew Tate came here not because of the high degree of corruption, because there is not such a high degree of corruption in our country. In fact, the chief prosecutor of the European Union is a Romanian, but he came here because he knew that the crime isn't punished as bad as in other countries. For what he did in the US, he could make 30, 40 years in prison, while here he can get out with 15 years probably. So that's my opinion. That's why he came to Romania and then tried to blackmail probably some politicians and some police officers using his women. So that's what I think this Andrew Tate case is all about, and I will try to update you regularly on what's happening on this case. Don't forget to leave me your opinion and tell me what do you think about this case, if the Tate brothers are guilty or not on human trafficking.